video. Today I'm going to show you how to make a classic Mauritian curry, a lamb curry with potatoes. I make this probably once a week. It's like a Sunday treat because it's a long and slow dish. The good thing is you only need one pot to cook it in, and you kind of just let it do its own thing. So it's not that much hard work. I think a lot of people get scared with curries because of all the ingredients, and they think that they're worried about burning things and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I'm going to show you how easy it is. It doesn't take me very long. The longest part is actually just waiting for the curry to cook. And if you've got hungry people watching over you, then it seems like forever. But this is going to take you around an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how fresh your lamb is. And also how young the lamb is as well. Okay, so in order to make the lamb curry my style, I like to use red onions. Just think they have a nicer flavour. So I'm using one red onion. I've got one whole tomato chopped. It was quite a large tomato. It was about this big. And I've got some coriander stalk and some leaves that I've chopped. It's around a half a cup. Works out to be around 3 full tablespoons. I've got 30 grams of masala curry powder. This one's Mauritian curry powder, but I can do another video to show you how I make my masala. But if you can't get hold of Mauritian curry powder, all I would suggest is that you get some normal curry powder and add to it some coriander powder and some cumin powder, just to add some extra aromats to it. I've got some garlic and ginger, and I'm using the frozen cubes, which you can get from the supermarket now, which makes life so much easy. 1 cube has 10 grams of ginger and 10 grams of garlic. So in total, I'm using 20 grams of pureed garlic, 20 grams of ginger if you're using fresh. I've got around 15 curry leaves. I keep them in my freezer so that I can always use them whenever I need. I've got a very small, about 5 to 6 stems of thyme. In terms of whole spices, I've got some fenugreek, some cinnamon, and then I've got some chilli as well. So I'm just going to show you how I cook it. Okay, so in the pan I'm just going to add in around 3 tablespoons of oil. About that much. And first things first is to add the onions, and we're going to let them fry off until they're golden. When the onions go in, I like to add a little bit of salt, and this helps to soften the onions, and it brings out the water from the onions so they crisp up quicker. So at this stage I'm now going to add in all of these, which is the cinnamon stick. I've got the fenugreek seeds. I've got my thyme, curry leaves, and then I've got the chillies, and all I'm going to do with them is just make a split in them. So just take a knife and literally just pierce them twice. And it's going to add some flavour, but I don't want all that heat. Just like that. And now we're going to add in the garlic ginger paste. And then in with the tomatoes. And half of the coriander. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the tomatoes to let off all of their juice and allow the pan to go really dry before we add in the curry powder. Whilst that's cooking, I'm just going to show you what I do with the curry powder. So in here I've got my curry powder. And all I do is I add some water to it and make a paste. And what this will do is stop the curry powder from burning when it hits the pan. So just mix that all together, just with the water. And just make this kind of watery paste. Just like that. We'll bring this back in. So if you can see, it's starting to dry out now, which is what we needed. And then now we go in with our curry powder. And we just want to cook it out until it starts to go dry again. Okay, that's starting to go dry, and then I'm going to add in my lamb. And just coat it in the juices and make sure it's seared. And we're just going to let that sear off and dry out again. So at this point we're just going to add in some water, and we're going to cook that on a medium heat for around an hour until the lamb is really tender. After that point we're going to then add in our potatoes. So we'll just let this cook down, and I'll be back in 1 hour to show you what's happened. Right guys, this has had about an hour. So I'm just going to show you. Oh, we've steamed up. Just wipe this down. Right, so this has been cooking for an hour, and you can see it's still lovely and soupy. It's like a thin gravy, and the meat now is beginning to pull away. It's gone very tender. So at this stage I'm just going to add in my potatoes. With a little bit more water. And I'm just going to nestle this into the sauce. And it's really important at this stage to test for salt, because once the potatoes are cooked, it's quite hard to stir the curry. You don't want to break the potatoes. So just test, see that you're happy with the salt level. And we're just going to let that simmer now until the potatoes have now cooked through. So the curry's now cooked and the potatoes have been simmering. If you can see, the sauce is still quite thin. This is a classic Mauritian style. And you can see the potatoes, when they're open, have gone completely fondant. They've soaked up all that lovely curry juice. And all I'm going to do now is just garnish with the leftover coriander that we had. And I just want to show you how tender the meat is. It should really fall away. It's just crumbling and it's super, super tender. You won't even need a knife with this. Those are the lovely potatoes. Lovely and fondant, and all the gorgeous meat with the potatoes together. And there you have it guys, the perfect Sunday lunch at my house is a delicious Mauritian style lamb curry with potatoes.